children can, if we can help children to understand that other people come with a story, that breaks down a lot of walls, like Hermione says. You know, if I know your story, even if you think vastly different than I do, I'm going to have a different way of looking at you, because now I understand how you were formed, right? This is, I want to set this up. There's a video here. It's sponsored by Heineken, okay? So it was an experiment that was done, and perhaps people have seen this before. It was an experiment that was done, setting people up together to do a project who come from two very different perspectives, okay? And they did it with multiple people. And so the task was to do a project together. And then afterwards, the experimenters shared a little bit about each person and how they had some pretty stark differences, and then invited them to sit down and have a Heineken together. And so that's what we wanted to, you know, kind of in line with what Hermione is telling us. We wanted to explore what happens when people are willing to explore other people's stories.
You now have a choice. You may go I'm having a drink. I'm having a drink. Yeah. I'm in disguise for beer. Yeah, beer in disguise. Cheers. I'm reaching out to people, yeah. And even if you wanted to convince people at your point, the productive thing to do would be to sit down and engage. I've been brought up in a way where everything's black and white. But life isn't black and white. Yeah, well, just me. Yeah, smash the patriarchy. I'll give you my phone number, you give me yours, and we'll keep in touch. I'll have to tell my girlfriend that I'll be texting another girl.
Apologize for the commercialism there, but we just felt like there was some value in seeing that when we take an interest and we show young people how to be story aficionados, that closes the gap. Right? When you take an interest in somebody, it's really hard to hate them. Right? And that's, we live in a world where we have otherized people and we have learned to hate them. But you can't hate somebody if you know their story.
Right, I would say that even more in our digital age, if your children, you see them on their phones looking at Instagram, looking at all the perfection of other people, and then they don't sit down and have those conversations and ask, tell me about this, tell me about this. It's a different story usually, right?
So, one body, right? One body. The fingernail can't say to the toe hair, you don't belong here because you don't know how to pluck strings. Is that right, Pastor Mike? I can't remember exactly.
It's close.
But it's something like that. It's something like that. That we're all part of this body, and when we otherize people, we amputate the body. We amputate the body. And our job is to figure out with these differences, these different functions, we see things from different positionality in the body. And how do we figure out how to work together given those differences? That's our call as humans. That's certainly our call as Christians. Leading by example, be shepherds of God's flock. Okay? Not lording it over. We're not kind of projecting our superiority over kids, but we're modeling. How do we do this? We're showing them how to be humble. We're showing them how to be human beings. We're showing them how to care, how to be story aficionados, how to care about their story, right? Authoritative parenting, the nurture part. We're showing them how to care about their story, and then we're showing them how we care about others' stories, right? Be mindful of the media that we're consuming, right? I find myself desiring to consume media that reinforces all of my perspective. Right? Deepening activating my limbic system, cortisol, keeping me in a state of hypervigilance. Be really conscious. What are we consuming? Understanding that we have implicit biases. We have biases about the world, about other people, because of our positionality. We can help young people explore that too. Our values aren't real until we're in a difficult situation and we behave out of those values. Okay? Children see those moments. Our job is to live those values in those really hard moments. Right? And so it's finding the formula. Nurture plus challenge equals authoritative parenting. And that's part of what young people are needing from us as leaders in a divisive culture. So first, nurture and support. First, nurture and support. First, nurture and support. okay? Validate first. This is really important to you. Global climate change is really important to you. That's something that you care deeply about, right? From your perspective, how we're doing things or how culture is doing things looks really unjust and dangerous. That makes a lot of sense from what you're talking about and why you're so passionate. As therapists, we don't often tell people that we're working with. We tell them to avoid the word "but." But not in a situation in which we're helping to challenge young people. Okay, but we have to do number one first. If we don't do number one, number two doesn't matter. Okay? But responding the way that you're doing is inconsistent with our values. Right? This is not how we want to affect change. But I wonder if you could see it from someone else's perspective. I wonder if, from somebody who has a different, spiritual, racial, ethnic, national, socioeconomic perspective, I wonder if you could see it like them. And here's why this is important. So go to the values piece. Here are some principles. You guys probably remember Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King took these principles from Gandhi and the movement of nonviolence. There's a few that stand out in polarizing times for us. Nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. And it's not about defeating people. It's about addressing injustice. Right? So finding language to convey your values, to help young people connect to that deeper why. Why, this is what's important to me. I behaved in a way that's incongruent with how my school, or my teachers, and my grandparents, and my family, my school community, or my faith community wants me to. But why? Okay? Find language for your values. And then live in the discomfort. Help them see that part of growth is just being in this place of it's not going to be perfect. We're not gonna have the kind of change happen this moment, and fighting about it the way that our culture is fighting about it is not moving us there. We're resistant to change. We struggle with change too. Help young people just prepare for that change culturally, change community, change in families is really hard, takes time. So our job is to be aware that fear, anxiety, and doubt are among us too. And how are we managing that so we can lead them? Right? How are we managing our fear? If we place that on them, they're gonna be more vigilant. Some resources. I mentioned Amanda Ripley, a book called High Conflict. Her message is about how do we get out of the traps of this conflicted place. This is recorded, right? I was going to say my dad, but a person I know, I gave a reference to this book, and my dad can at times be a little explosive. And so I gave him a reference to this book. He's on the condominium. This person is on the condominium board of his association or whatever. Anybody on a condominium association? I guess these things get pretty intense. And I told him about this book, and a few weeks later I asked him, what did you think of that book? Is it, and changed anything for you? And then he described this situation in which some people were parking on a street in a no parking area. And he described this, he went down there to tell them they were in the wrong, and they did it all wrong, and they shouldn't be there. And I said, afterwards, I said, okay, well, did you do anything different? And he said, well, I didn't yell. So I thought that was pretty good. So, putting these integrating some of these things into our lives can help us be really intentional about minimizing the escalation, right? Minimizing the intensification. Jonathan Haidt, Self-Righteous Mind, he's working with something he calls moral foundations theory, which he's across cultures. He's identified 5 dimensions of morality that seem pretty to cross many different cultures. And so one of the things that's been useful for me in reading that is when I experience somebody who is vastly different from me, perspective-wise, I may be able to conceptualize a little bit more what are they prioritizing in terms of their moral thinking. And that's been really helpful because I take it out of right, wrong, good, bad, good, evil. Monica Guzman, I never thought of it that way, how to have courageous conversations in dangerously divided times. She, again,